The original structure is kind of rocky. Yeah. To kill that off. I don't know how to use it.
Like to call order the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting of May 21st, 2026.
I'll call roll. Ms. Ross.
Here.
Mr. Travis.
Here.
Mr. Pax.
Here.
Mr. Wellington. Here. And Mr. McCoy.
Here.
If there's anyone here this evening who intends to testify, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, state, I do. I do. I do. When we open the floor to your testimony for an application, the applicant will speak first, and then we'll open it up for people from the audience. And at that time, please step to the mic and provide your name and address and remind us that you've been sworn in.
All right. Well, good evening, members of the Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Eric Gaetsky. I'm the Senior Zoning Officer here at Orange Township. I will be taking you through 3 cases this evening, one of which is old business, a continuation from the last hearing, and that is case number BA-26-06. So the applicant here is Mission Holdings. The site is at 10030 Columbus Pike. This lot is a 9.4 acre size parcel with a planned, I believe that's EC zone, zoning on that parcel. This request is seeking 5 area variances from Orange Township Zoning Resolution Section 21.04C to allow land with 5 warehouse buildings to encroach into the 100-foot setback to the west, south, and north. So as described in the summary, this applicant is requesting variances from Orange Township Zoning Resolution Section 21 for 5 new warehouse buildings to encroach into the required 100-foot setback due to abutting residential districts. This project consists of 5 8,976 square foot warehouse buildings to the west of existing buildings on the property, as well as accompanying utilities to serve the proposed buildings in gravel laydown areas. The parcels to the south and the west of the property are owned by High Banks Metro Park, so they're technically zoned Farm Residential District FR1, which necessitates the variances. The application was initially heard at the April 16th, 2026 BZA meeting, and that resulted in a continuance to today's meeting on May 21st, 2026, as that was granted by the BZA. Updated materials, including a revised site plan, renderings, and area photos, have been provided by the applicant as of May 6th, and wanted to give you a bit of a summary with regards to those. So since the previous meeting, the applicant provides the plans to show the locations for warehouse buildings number 1 through 5. That is shown in the applicant's site plan, which is in Exhibit 1 as well. And so I'll go through buildings 1 through 5 and those changes. So building number 1 has been relocated 25 feet southward from the previous location. So previously it had a 50-foot setback from the property line to the north side. Now it is a 75-foot proposed setback from that property line. Building number 2 has been relocated approximately 30 feet northward. Note, due to the relocation of building number 2, a variance is now required for an encroachment of the setback from the north property line. You can see that in the site plan. We'll get to exhibit 1 as well. For buildings number 3 and 4, they do maintain the 50-foot setback distance from the property line, which is the west property line. So a 50-foot variance is being requested. And then for building number 5, that has been relocated approximately 40 feet towards the west. So there is a variance for that one as well. Subject site is located 10030 Columbus Pike. Again, a 9.4 acre parcel, which is the west side of US 23, and it abuts High Banks Metro Park land on the west and south lot lines. So I can describe generally where it's located, but just north of this parcel, the adjacent land is Farm Residential District Zone. It's single family residential land use currently. To the south, it's also Farm Residential District, and the land use is High Banks Metro Park. All right. To the east, the zoning district is Planned Commercial and Office District. This entails Nissan dealership as well as auto repair business. And to the west, the zoning district is Farm Residential District, High Banks Metro Park land use. All right. So we had a couple aerials in your packet, which shows there are some existing buildings predominantly on the south side of the site. Three buildings to note there. They do have some drive aisles, but for the most part, the lot is undeveloped on the west and the north sides. There is also a small pond, a water feature central to the lot. And then we have exhibit 1, that is the revised site plan. So the revised site plan, as described with the buildings being relocated, buildings number 1 through 5. Just for your reference, to make it more convenient, I've placed the updated site plan on the left side, so you can compare that with what was previously presented in April. Buildings number 1 and number 2 are shown with setback. That should be 50-foot setback, or sorry, 75-foot setback for number 1 and 2 from the north side property line, which represents a 25-foot variance request, or 25% from the requirement of 21.04C. The setback from the west property line remains 50 feet. That's for buildings number 2 through 4, and that represents that's a 50-foot variance, representing a 50% deviation from the requirement of 21.04C. And then for building number 5, that's shown with a setback of 57 feet 9 inches from the west property line, representing a variance of 42 feet and 3 inches, or approximately 42%. We use the measuring software called Bluebeam to show you where we obtain our measurements. So essentially that is 75 feet from the north property line, 50 feet from the west property line for buildings number 2 through 4, and 57 feet 9 inches from the west property line for building number 5. We have from the applicant's packet the elevations. Those are the same as presented in April. So we have summarized them, but I'll take us through the variance request once more for each building. So for building number 1, the applicant is proposing building number 1 have a setback of 75 feet from the north side property line. That's representing a variance of 25 feet, or 25% from the requirement. For building number 2, that's the setback, same as building number 1, 75 feet being proposed from the north side property line. That represents the 25-foot variance, or 25% from the requirement. All right. And so building number 2 also has that variance request from the west side property line. So, yeah, applicant is proposing setback of 50 feet from the, west side property line, representing a variance of 50 feet or 50% of the requirement. Building number 3, the applicant is proposing that setback from west property line remain 50 feet. So that is a 50-foot variance and 50% deviation from the standard. For building number 5, the applicant is proposing that the setback from west property line be 57 feet 9 inches, representing a variance of 42 feet 3 inches, or approximately 42%. The applicant has supplied some new photography. I copied that into the staff report. So you see the generally undeveloped lot. This, I believe, is taken on the north side of the property, showing the existing buildings on the south side. And then several aerial photos for better understanding of the existing layout. I believe that's all I have for description of the variances, and the rest of the board analysis and potential motions for your consideration. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Questions for Rick?
No, right now.
Would the applicant like to step up and tell us about your application?
Here.
You can sit at the table if you like, just identify yourselves before you speak.
Okay.
What scripture is.
Dave Macus, Will Russman, 3363 Rumlow Road, Delaware, Ohio. And yes, I was sworn in.
Andrew Long, 2550 Corporate Exchange Drive, and yes, I was sworn in.
Leslie Collins, 1715 North Star Ave. Yes, I was sworn in.
Chad Glenn, my address is 200 Barrett, Columbus, Ohio. Yes, I was correct.
Well, thank you guys again for hearing us the second time. We took kind of your comments from our original proposal and just shifted things a little bit. I think our main concern here was going to be the setback to the north side that we had initially been showing as 50 foot in our last round, and we've since reduced it to 75 foot. So we've increased the setback 25 feet. I think the discussion was that because that section to the north was still zoned as FR1, we still wanted to hold at least a 75 or a 25% reduction from the building setback. And I think we kept the western and the southern ends the same because that was going to be abutting the Highland Metro. So we were able to keep those as 50 foot. We shifted everything south to maintain a 75 foot building setback line. And I think this still works with what Sphere will need for their truck turning, as you can see, kind of going around, as well as their operations.
And I think last time, a couple of things that we wanted to address was to the north side, with that being residential, we have maintained 15 feet of green space all around the property line for future screening. And the reason for the additional photos was to show how grown up really that is surrounding us right now with the tree lines. So for us to do any immediate screening with how much the High Banks Park has grown up and how much the residential to the north of us is, it would be, I think we'd be starving any plants that we put in right now at this time to be able to grow in that space. And that's why we really took the drone photos and showed that our neighbors both have very mature natural screening at this point right now. But we did include in our plans a 15-foot green space along all property lines for future screening if it was to change. So property to the north, I know Ms. Butts is in talks about what her intentions are with that property from a few different developers, and we wanted to respect that Met with her since our last meeting on her intentions of what she'd like to see, whether we had any concerns, and she just mentioned that if we would maintain space for screening as needed, that was her only thing, that if it does remain residential, that we would honor, them as FR1 property and provide additional screening.
Because all the screening right now is not on your property.
Correct.
Their
Yep.
property.
Correct. But if you look at those photos, those trees are, the majority of those trees are 60 to 70-foot trees at this point.
Yeah.
So if they were to be removed, we wanted to maintain that setback area so that we could put screening in. If it does change hands, either the park or Mrs. Buss property change hands, as soon as development went, we would have room to put that screening in.
Okay.
So I think that's the majority of what we were looking for that were your guys' concerns with our neighbors and our setback regions. The other main focus for us on requesting these setbacks is to maintain traffic flow and parking on the interior of our property instead of the exterior. So, we discussed laydown yards. We kind of submitted a plan showing where those yards would be. Also, one of the photos shows an existing one of building 1. That photo is up in the top right-hand corner. That's one of our existing buildings that kind of has the gravel surrounded, that butts up to the dealership. And that is kind of our model building of what it would look like for leasable space for each unit, where they have additional parking and laydown yard. So that was really kind of an example of what the business use would be. I know you guys asked about that last time. So we really wanted to cover with the photos where our concept came from and what that currently looks like.
Any questions?
Yeah.
So we did receive correspondence from Ms. Butts, and one of her concerns, there were two concerns that she listed beyond just the screening also. And not that she may not have discussed with you, but she sent us in a letter. One of which was runoff and drainage. So it's interesting. I know that you have an existing pond in your drawings. It looks like is that being expanded into a retention pond?
Yes.
Okay.
The goal of the site was to drain everything to the inside of that pond, and then everything discharges to the south. So if you can see on maybe that picture to the right, those 3 buildings, between the first one to the left and the second one to the left, there's an existing storm sewer that we would be connecting to that already discharges from the pond. So we would just provide any catch basins or any drainage inlets around the edges of the property to maintain the flow inward.
So, what pavement? Is it just scratch gravel around all of these buildings?
Yes.
That we're seeing denoted with the crosshatch in your plan? That's
Yes.
gravel, there's no asphalt or
No,
concrete?
the only thing that would be asphalt is what's currently asphalt on the entry coming into the property. We would maintain that.
But what we're seeing within this proposal, at least with these areas in gray,
It's
is
gravel.
gravel.
Yeah, it's
That's
gravel.
purpose.
Yes.
That's important. That's helpful, at least on the runoff to address more concerns of even Metro Parks and or these spots. So that's good. The buildings themselves, then, do they have gutters on the sides of them on these gable roofs, or
Yes. Yes, they
Yeah.
got downspouts. Yes.
and downspouts?
Yes.
And those connect into the underground storm system, or is that in
There's
discharge into that?
sheet drain across the gravel to a catch basin.
Okay, so they discharge it right inside the building, basically,
Yes.
splash blocks. So I'm just getting some little detail of that I understand. And then the other concern that she raised was light pollution and glare potentially, especially for her neighbors that would be on the north. So, within your sketch and the drawings, it's not necessarily presented on how you intend to illuminate if there's wall packs for security of stored areas.
Yeah, we intend to wall pack each building, and then when the lease agreements are done, if they would require, because this was brought up in the last meeting, if they would require any additional lighting, that would be permitted for their build out for each additional customer, if they wanted additional light screening. So they would have to go through additional zoning review and permitting for any parking lot lighting or anything like that. So in our initial build, it'll be wall pack units with a 50-foot light span, basically off a shielded wall pack that would give 50 foot of coverage, which in all areas would not reach the property line, would be at the base of the property line. So there wouldn't be any white flash or light flashing.
Sure.
And that's what our current buildings have. The office building that currently sits there, to the north and the west, it would be the same wall pack units that are on those buildings currently.
And noting that you typically just have man doors coming out alongside of your buildings, the overheads alongside of all your overhead access into the buildings are on the short end of the building, basically the gate lines of the building. Is that correct?
Except for, you see the middle buildings, if you see where we've kind of spaced those buildings for the laydown yards.
Are you looking on the west?
Yeah, so on the west building labeled 3 and 4, I believe those two buildings. Those do have buildings on our overhead doors on the north and south side of those. And that's really just to face where their proposed laydown leasable area would be.
That's where their access into the buildings overhead are on those north and south side of those buildings. Is what you're
As well as one in the front, yes.
Okay.
So each building's getting 2 overhead doors.
The only reason I'm asking such specific question on it is trying to understand too, as we're reviewing against the previous submission, the position spacing between the buildings. Before they were equal, basically, and now there's a differentiation on those bottom south 2 buildings being very close. The overhead access on the sides explains that as far as intent and why they're spaced out, right?
Yeah, and the reason we changed that spacing was to really kind of show that we wanted to maintain any of that laydown yard for traffic to be within not on the exterior of the properties. So depending on the tenant that comes in there, whether, and again, this will come out in leasing, buildings 1 and 2 to the north, we would look for more specific of a tenant that may not have as much outside space need as they would inside space need. And then allowing buildings 3 through 5 to give those tenants more lay down protected space, which also protects the residents to the point.
That's primary key concern, I think, also, I appreciate the 75-foot increase, but limiting the outside storage on the north side of those buildings is also going to be probably helpful and appreciated by the specs also.
Yeah,
Just-
and our intention is, our intention with this whole project and the reason we've taken additional time to meet with all of our neighbors is to address their concerns. We're not trying to make anything where, it's a hindrance to the dealership. We don't want to make her, take anything away from the beautiful property that Mrs. Butts already has. And that's why we've kind of tried to address, the 15 foot of barrier space that, depending on what gets developed on our property, around that, we have room to address that at the time that it's needed.
And again, no intent for overall parking lot, like poles, that would be illuminating the general area.
Yeah.
Just using your wall packs.
Wall pack, yep, wall packs. And the nice thing security-wise about this, we've also mentioned in our packet that our gate location has moved towards 23. So it's kind of hard to see on this. Yeah, right up in that area, that's where the new gate location is. So everything on our property from there back, with the dealership and the Crash Champions, the auto repair shop, everything to our property, except for on the north and the park side, is double fenced. So we really feel like security-wise with the park has really good security being closed after dark. And then with that residential area, also having very limited access on how to get in there, really, kind of provides a low risk area for most of our tenants.
Can I speak?
A moment, please. We'll get to you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. A couple of you came in after we started the meeting, and there's a time when we swear in people. If you're going to testify, you need to swear in. So I know a couple of you came in after that time. If you intend to speak tonight to testify, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Okay, you sir, also.
Yeah, my name is
No,
Ken.
no.
Wait, just wait.
We need you
I
to
need
swear in.
I need you to swear in.
Just-
Okay.
You're right.
Right.
But whatever.
Okay, thank you. Do you,
I'm not going to testify.
No, no.
well, if you are going to speak before us this evening, that's testimony. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, state I do.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone from the audience who'd like to speak, please come up to the mic, give us your name and address, and affirm that you've been sworn.
My name is Kenneth Campbell. I represent Mary Butts, I'm a lawyer. She brought me in this morning about 9 o'clock. So I don't have a lot of really great information, other than to say she objects to this. She does not want this to go through. She'd like to leave it as is, at least in terms of the setback line. We're talking about the difference between a 75-foot setback line and a 100-foot setback line. She would like to leave it at 100-foot setback line. One of the big concerns is what happens to the rest of her property line. I'm not sure exactly how long that is, but when I looked at it on a map, it looked to be about 2,000 feet beyond this. And she doesn't want to set a precedent of agreeing to this and then have that used against her in the future for someone else that wants to have an additional setback line. So that's her biggest concern. And she, at this point in time, she's not in favor of it. And I wish I had the opportunity to speak with you. I didn't get brought in until this morning at 9 o'clock. And I almost came over here twice after I met her, so it's job. And she asked me not to, but I certainly would like you to speak with me on this. But that's in the car.
I would like you to reassure your friend who's hired you that each of the cases that comes before us is based on its own merits. We don't look at precedents for anything that has happened. It could be exactly the same instance next door, and it has, since it's a completely different place with different ideas and prospects, that we look at it completely independent from everything else. It's only based on the testimony and the information we received.
That's very reassuring. Thank you very much. I have nothing further. And I'm sorry to be right, I didn't get this way off the track.
We understand. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Okay.
To the board, it does appear that there are 7 variances that would be requested based on the location of building number 5. So on that end, I should say, I need to make sure you have a copy of all 7 of the variance requests, which I ran off print-wise. So I'm going to go grab those, so you each have the updated, which includes the south property line variance. I'll be right back.
I do have a question for the applicant. I think at the last meeting, you said you intended to fence this entire area. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what type of fencing?
So on the north side, we're matching Mary's wooden fence at this time. I don't know if you've driven down there, it's a 5-slat wooden fence with, probably about 5-foot height currently. Along the front side, we're matching, we've got an agreement with the dealership and Crash Champions to match their vinyl fence, which is 6-foot solid plank, down the front. And along the park is currently park fence where they have their no trespassing, I don't even know what you call that type of fencing, chain fence around the south and west side current fence. And again, our intentions would be to, if that were ever to change, we would put in probably a black vinyl chain link for the security of all of our tenants. If development was to start in that area.
I guess my concern is more, I think it's important for you to have security fencing for your tenants, but if you're going to put storage outside of building 2 on the north side, and the screening comes out on her property, that does not, even with 15 feet of brand new, if you want to put in more vegetation along there, 15 feet wide, just a chain link fence or something like that doesn't block those, any potential homes that would be in that area. I think that's the reason why.
No, our intention for that screening would be an arborvitae, which is not a large base type plant, but does give you tons of height. Some of those arborvitaes are up to 30-foot tall, and those would sit within a 15-foot.
I'm not a huge fan of those because they don't live very long. And they, yeah. I really appreciate the change that you've made to this, your attempt to make it all work.
You know, we've really tried to take in consideration of all of our neighbors, and like I said, we met with, since our last meeting with all of our neighbors. We even sent an email to the park with a response from them that said they had basically no comment. They couldn't approve or disagree, but they also said that they have no intentions of additional development. We do work really closely with local rangers, because we have had trespassers that say they thought our property was entrance to the park. So we are in communication with them often. We've had, in this last storm, multiple trees that fell on power lines and destroyed fencing, so we communicate with all our neighbors very regularly. And again, the understanding Mary's concerns and what's coming up. She has a large portion of property there, so we do understand that she's under fire by everybody. And we've really worked well with her to also match her fencing and maintain, a good relationship with her as well. So.
I might add that the screening is also going to be something that's going to be code driven. So even if this approval gets through this PZA process, that'll still have to be reviewed by, I believe, Orange Township zoning team for all the landscaping. So if it comes up at that point that maybe there's a better plan that you prefer or something, I think we try to be accommodating with that in Orange Township to find the screening that works with you guys.
There will be a process that they will apply for a zoning permit. We will do a review that includes features. I'm not aware of the specifics behind how many trees and things of that nature, but we will weigh it with what the requirements are in our general development standards, our planned commercial district. And we also want to throw out there that we will also review it for lighting. Something that is generally deferred to the building department at Delaware County, though, is stormwater and the management of any runoff. So that will be handled subsequent to zoning at the building department level. So just put that out there for you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the board? Someone would like to make a motion? Building one.
I'll make a motion Based on factors presented this evening, I move to approve case number VA 26-06, the property located 10-030 Columbus Pike, Lewis Center, Ohio 43035, seeking one area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution section 21.04, dimensional standards to allow a commercial building identified in the application as building 1 to encroach 25 feet into the 100-foot setback in an area zone planned commercial and office PC district.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion? Eric, ready for
Okay, no discussion. Yes, sir. Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Pax?
Yes.
Mr. Wallington?
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy?
No.
Motion carries. That's for building number 1.
Motion for building number 2.
Based on discussed factors and plan revisions made to the original submission, I move to approve case number VA 26-06 for the property located at 10-030 Columbus Pike, Lewis Center, Ohio 43035, seeking one area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution section 1.04, dimensional standards to allow a commercial building identified in the application as building 2 to encroach 25 feet 0 inches into the 100-foot required setback in an area zone planned commercial and office PC district.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Ross?
No.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Pax?
Yes.
Mr. Wallington?
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy?
No.
So I have 3 yeses and 2 noes, so the variance carries. Variance is approved. That's for building number 2. And that was for the north side property line. So the next one is also for building number 2, setback to the west side.
A motion?
Make a motion. Based on factors presented and revisions made to the original design, I move to approve case number VA 2606 for the property located 10-030 Columbus Pike, Lewis Center, Ohio 43035, seeking one area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution section 21.04, dimensional standards to allow a commercial building identified in the application as building 2 to encroach 50 feet into the 100-foot required setback in an area zone planned commercial and office PC.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Ross?
No.
Mr. Travis?
No.
Mr. Pax?
Yes.
Mr. Wellington?
Yes.
Mr. McCoy?
No.
Variance is denied. It's for the west side property line.
Is there a motion for building 3 west property line?
Based on factors presented and plan presented and revised, I move to approve case number VA 2606 for the property located at 10-030 Columbus Pike, Lewis Center, Ohio 43035, seeking one area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution section 21.04, dimensional standards to allow a commercial building identified in the application as building 3 to encroach 50 feet into the 100-foot required setback in an area zone planned commercial and office PC district.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Ms. Ross?
No.
Mr. Travis,
No.
Mr. Pax,
Yes.
Mr. Waddington,
Yes.
and Mr. McCoy.
No.
Variance is denied. On to building number 4, also West Side property.
I move, based upon factors presented this evening, I move to approve case number VA 2606 for the property located at 10030 Columbus Pike, Center, Ohio 43035, seeking one area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution section 21.04, dimensional standards to allow a commercial building identified in the application as building 4 to encroach 50 feet into the 100-foot required setback in area zone of planning, commercial, and office PC district.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Ms. Ross,
No.
Mr. Travis,
No.
Mr. Pax,
Yes.
Mr. Valentin,
Yes.
and Mr. McCoy.
No.
That variance is denied.
Building number 5, West Property Line.
Yes. Based on factors presented this evening, I move to approve case number VA 2606 for the property located at 10030 Columbus Pike, Lewis Center, Ohio 43025, seeking one area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution section 21.04, dimensional standards to allow a commercial building identified in the application as building 5 to encroach 42 feet and 3 inches into the 100-foot required setback in area zone planned commercial office PC district.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Ross,
No.
Mr. Travis,
No.
Mr. Pax,
Yes.
Mr. Valentin,
Yes.
and Mr. McCoy.
No.
That variance is denied. So we have 7 variance requests. That's also for building number 5. And this is from the south property line. For Mr. Valentin, Mr. McCoy, you can refer to the board as that variance, and I was able to provide 3 copies until the printer quit.
Is there a motion?
Based on the factors presented, I move to approve case number VA 2606 for the property located at 10030 Columbus Pike, Lewis Center, Ohio 43035, seeking one area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution section 21.04, dimensional standards to allow a commercial building identified in the application as building 5 to encroach 50 feet 0 inches into the 100-foot required setback from the south property in an area zone planned commercial and office PC district.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Ross,
No.
Mr. Travis,
No.
Mr. Pax,
Yes.
Mr. Valentin,
Yes.
and Mr. McCoy.
No.
That variance is denied. That's all of the variances for this case. If, I can find the staff report, the next 2 cases are new business items. I will take it,
Thank you.
top. So this first new business case is BA-26-08. This is for the site at 7720 Vale Canyon Road. The applicant and owner of the site are Zachary and Lisa Austin. The zoning district is farm residential district and the lot size is 2.6 acres. So the applicant is seeking an area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution section 20.01A2 to allow for parking of trailers and recreational vehicle behind an existing privacy fence and in front of the front build line. With regards to the case history, a neighbor complained about an RV in front of the building line and discarded materials prompted an initial compliance inspection violation notice on February 19, 2026, and follow-up inspection and violation notice on March 6, 2026. During a third inspection on March 25th, 2026, it was noted that the RV was relocated behind the existing privacy fence while remaining in front of the primary dwelling's front building line. The property owner submitted an area variance application on April 17, 2026 for a variance from section 20.01A2. This property is located at 7720 Vale Canyon Road, Lewis Center, and as stated, is owned by Zach Green, Lisa Austin. So as far as the surrounding area, the zoning district to the north of here is single family plan residential district. Land uses include the Nicoya subdivision with open space in Nicoya Court right of way. To the south, zoning district is farm residential district. Land use includes single family residences. Towards the east, it's also farm residential. Land uses are Vale Canyon Road right of way, agricultural land across. And to the west, zoning district is single family plan residential, and land use is single family residences. So there's the context view, southeast portion of the township, and then the zoomed in aerial view. This property has frontage off Vale Canyon Road, and you can see in a subsequent exhibit the location that is proposed for the RV. In the staff review portion, we looked at this variance request from the front building line setback. So it is an area variance from section 20.01A2, which states that no trailer of any type, no boats, no motor homes, and no equipment of any type shall be parked in front of the front building line for any parcel within a district zone for residential use for more than 24 hours in a day in a 10-day period. If the dwelling is located on said lot, the building line shall be considered to be the front wall of the dwelling, even if said dwelling is located behind the minimum line established, that is building line established by this resolution. So the principal dwelling is set back 385 feet from the center line of Vale Canyon Road, which establishes the front building line. The motorhome, which we refer to as the RV, is required to be parked in accordance with the above code section. The long-term parking location of the RV is shown in the applicant's site plan. It's roughly 208 feet from the center line of Vale Canyon Road, which does not comply with the above requirement that it be parked behind the front building line. The applicant has stated that the RV will remain parked behind an existing wood privacy fence with lattice panels, which is shown in the site photo from 3/24/26 compliance inspection. An area variance is being requested to allow the RV to be parked at the location shown in the following exhibit, Exhibit 1. So you can see there's an arrow in the shaded area that denotes the location of the RV, where the RV is to be kept. And essentially that's where the RV has been noted as being parked since the most recent compliance photos were taken. I did add a few descriptions, well, annotations, just to give you a visual sense of what the code describes. So that dotted line is the front building line, which runs along, obviously, where the front of the home is located. So you can see if it's a margin, a fairly decent margin between where the RV location is and where the front building line is located. And in fact, we broke that down further in Exhibit 3. So the requested parking location of the RV is roughly 208 feet setback from the center line of Vale Canyon Road, which is approximately 178 feet and 7 inches closer than the front building line of the principal dwelling. Principal dwelling setback is measured from the southeast corner of the home is 386 feet. There about 386 feet. And then that site photo I mentioned, shows the existing privacy fence with what you could call a lattice panel at the top. The RV is, just very minimally visible, but you can make out the white color just behind that. So that was on 3/24/26 that this photo was obtained. That's all I had for the board review, the staff review analysis. Rest of the board analysis, criteria for your consideration, and, example motion.
Eric, will you confirm on exhibit 3 where that fencing is that you showed in the site photo?
I'm sure
Just
it's,
so that I'm sure.
I'm sure it's a bit, granular in terms of the resolution, but you can see a shadow, so you can see the building outline of the structure with the white windows in the site photo. That's probably the most visible item. I'm not sure, maybe Charlie can hover with his cursor over top of that structure. The fence is supposed to,
Rectangles?
yeah, it's a rectangle.
Yeah.
The fence is supposed to connect off of that, structure. I'm sure the applicant can elaborate a little more quick, or further elaborate on that than I can, but you can see a little bit of a shadow.
I assumed that was where it was, but I wanted to be sure.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Questions, Barry?
Are we aware of what is out of any other structures that are to the south of? Is it? I don't know if it's germane, but what is that garage there or something?
So there are several accessory structures. They've been there a long time. We did not review for exactly when they were added or approved. Really, the request is specific to the RV issue and doesn't entail any sort of structures on the property. So these are structures that are all accessory. The only principal structure is the one that you can see in Exhibit 2. We based the front building line off of that dotted orange line. And then these structures they don't have bearing on the front building line, essentially. So while the RV is as far forward in the lot as these structures are, they just don't have bearing on the RV location. And neither does a fence for that.
Just curious.
Understood.
Is there no other questions? Is there someone here, is the applicant here to speak to us this evening? Would you please give us your name, address, and where you've been sworn?
I'm Lisa Austin, 7720 Bell Canyon Road, and yes, I have been sworn in.
Zachary Austin, 7720 Bell Canyon Road, and I also said it.
Yeah, so those other buildings, it's technically two buildings that are connected to each other. The first is what we refer to as the small garage. It was built, I want to say I was less than 10 when my dad built that. And the pole barn is essentially built right next to it, but they're connected. And that was built in 2001 or 2, would be my best guesstimation. It's, my dad and I used to run a vending business, and he built that pole barn to store our products. Since then, the property is now ours. So, being that that's our garage, and we built the fence 13 years ago when we moved in to help take care of them in their senior years, this stuff belongs back there. Now, the RV did get parked when it broke down. It got towed home from vacation, and he was ill shortly after that and hadn't been able to get it fixed. That's why it was parked in the front yard, and didn't get moved behind the line soon enough. but for the most part, it's kept behind that fence. Unfortunately, since then, we still haven't been able to get to it because he's been working back in that area, trying to get it cleaned up a little bit better. But that's basically what we're asking for, is to, keep the stuff back there by our garage. Ideally, it'll get parked parallel, like,
Yeah, this normal spot would be next to the bigger garage.
yeah,
As
so
far
it'll
as-
run right along next to it. But being that the engine isn't currently running, he can't get it there. He just can't maneuver it without the power steering to get it over there. It was hard enough to get it back behind there.
35 foot's hard to turn.
Especially with no power steering. But once the vehicle that's in the garage is done, that's next.
Point out that there's no way to get anything back behind the building line.
The
There's a creek that runs between the house and the driveway. And it runs around the backside of the barn. Okay? So to get the RV behind that line, I would have to build a bridge heavy enough to do it. And then I would have to change the whole landscape because it's all uphill behind the house. Which would create quite a mess. And I'm sure other than building the building back there or building another big fence around back there, which I'm sure the neighbors wouldn't like either. It'd be tough to do. Only place for us to have anything. And the trailers, I run a business. I'm a contractor. And the trailers are a very important part of it. So, without some place to park them, I can't run a business. And there's no way I can get behind the line.
But it's all hidden back there as it shows in that one picture. I mean, you can kind of sort of see the air conditioner from up top, but. And lots of trees. That fence
Yeah,
actually
big one.
runs all the way around to the back side up along the creek. And then, lots and lots of, what was the wording that the previous people used, screening? Lots of natural screening, and there are tons of very, very old, very tall trees.
Yeah, we have a lot of old vegetation.
Yeah.
That screens it, and we've added some. You see in the pictures, the greenhouse, and then to the left, there are some, red oaks. So,
Yeah. And we
this
just
this
added,
all came about because the RV broke down. The tow truck driver wasn't willing to move it anywhere other than pop it. And, of course, here we are.
So it's currently in the place that's marked with the red rectangle,
yes,
Correct.
and that's where you intend to keep it when it's ready.
Well, it will be behind the fence. Originally, it was meant to be next to the garage,
which is even more out of the way.
which is even further outside.
And which one is the garage?
The larger building to the left.
Yeah, that's the little one,
That's,
that, so to the one to the right there, where it's essentially completely out of sight. Well, yeah, but they can't see this, they can see that. It's page one,
One on the left.
but,
I can't see what there's.
but there's, he started a concrete pad there to be able to, so it can sit on the concrete and, not get stuck in the mud. But in that photo, there's actually two other RVs in that photo that aren't on the property anymore. They're long gone.
Yeah,
One got disassembled and the other one was sold. In that aerial photo.
One time we had three.
I didn't even realize that when he And he saw the picture and says, well, there's two RVs back there now, in that aerial.
Should have taken the engine out.
He did,
I do. Yep.
he actually did.
That is on the list, yes. Take out the Ford motor, put the Chevy in there.
The area imagery is 2024, that's the most recent.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
and it was late 2024 that we got the current RV.
When was this house built?
Originally in the 50s, I want to say 50 even, but I could be slightly off.
You've been there,
I was born there.
and then you said you built the fence in 2013.
Yeah, that's when he and I moved back to help take care of my parents when they were in their final decline.
I had to have some place to hide my stuff.
Yeah, so he
But
built
you caused this problem.
the settlement that
I am the culprit, yes.
The neighbor to the south is also farm residential one, FR1. That neighbor's been there a long time. one to
The A-frame?
south.
The A-frame, yeah. I'm not sure when they moved in, but they've been there longer than we've been back. I want to say they've been there since the 90s.
That property originally belonged to Paul, and we sold
Yeah.
sold it off.
Yeah, but not to that guy. Yeah, my dad actually originally owned that piece of land when they initially bought it in 1961.
We received input from the Nagoya Fort residents, and they would like the trailer is behind the fence, the existing fence.
They're fine if it's behind it.
That's the
Is
way
that-
this reads.
We're
So-
fine with
So
that.
I guess what I want to make sure is from Eric, where is considered behind the fence?
Yeah, we took a measurement using both the auditor site, using our software for doing architectural measurements. And so the best estimate or the closest measurement we could come up with is 208 feet. So you can see that broken down in the red measurement, which is exhibit number 3. That really goes to the front corner of where the fence ends up. So that's 208 feet from the shortest distance of the center line of the road into the property.
So as long as it's anywhere from where that 208 arrow stops within that next section before it goes to the front line of the house, that's considered behind the fence.
As you follow that measurement.
Can I get up and look at that?
Yeah.
I can't make out what he's saying. I want to make sure
On that
that I understand.
Yeah, he's just talking about where the fence is.
No, yeah.
Right there. So anything that's behind.
Yeah, the fence is actually to the other side of that lean-to roof. That lean-to roof is attached to the fence.
I guess maybe I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but I just want to make sure that the neighbor doesn't come forward in 6 weeks from now and they have it parked in front of the building that's all pretty much to the furthest left before the creek, and they say, no, it shouldn't be there. I just want to make sure whatever we decide.
Well, the fence goes to the creek. It continues. There's two openings in it. And I've considered building gates for it, so to be completely opposed. I haven't ruled that out. But since
He drives his truck back there most nights,
But since
like his daily vehicle.
since we've been getting, since this has occurred, I'm taking that up again, thought-wise of building the gates. So it's completely closed off. So, there's a circular driveway going around in front of the garages. So there's two openings in the gate, in the fence. But the fence basically goes all the way. It actually hangs a foot into the creek, since the creek has eroded the ground around way on the, yeah. But I've been trying to deal with the erosion since I'm moving around again. I went through a couple different surgeries, so it slowed up my process, yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant?
So I'm trying to your point, Sue, that 208-foot setback, and I assume that's what they're talking when they say front yard. It's getting to the, what would be, I guess, east of that fence line, and what we're seeing at 208 feet towards Bill. Is that Bill Canyon on the right side?
Yeah.
Okay. But as I'm looking, as it goes south, there's encroachment of, whether that's construction material or trucks or that material, is that, if that encroaches beyond, is that an issue beyond, closer to 208, or is
We
that,
would look at,
is it even germane?
yeah, this again is a little updated photo. We would look at any future, if there happened to be a certain parcel, not just this parcel, but any parcel for that matter, an accumulation of debris, junk materials discarded. We would look at that as a code compliance case on its own merits. So we would not necessarily be needing to make a motion for things in this area, as these things were not observable in our site inspection. If there was a report, if there was a complaint, we would investigate, and we would subsequently make a determination about if it needs to be cleaned up. But for that matter, junk debris is a different category than an RV, a motorhome. Does that help clarify?
It does. I mean, I think one of them may be an RV in that view anyways, that I'm seeing there, just, to the south of the area in red, where the current RV is parked. It seems there's two other RVs on the site in this area. And so I think that white rectangle there is another RV. I'm not sure. I assume it is.
Yeah, this picture is a little bit on the old side.
It seems
The
from the left.
debris, little piles of debris are gone.
Okay.
I had them collected to deal with the erosion issues, which I have addressed. The debris, the piles of debris are gone. They're now part of the
Oh,
creek bank,
The concrete, yeah.
the concrete, and we're only one RV.
Okay.
The other two are gone.
Yeah, they're gone. One moved to Kentucky and one is disassembled.
It seems that the residents, their primary concern again is that behind the fence. And so that's where I'm trying to understand to the extent of that fence, if it's going to the south of that greenhouse-like structure there that we see in the photograph, the fence is extending. And I'm trying to understand how far south that,
To the creek.
to the creek, and what's different.
And then it follows the creek line around,
Yes.
like around behind, because you see,
You're
yeah,
saying,
right there.
someone draw where the fence is, because I'm lost.
That'd be great, but I don't know if we're gonna get there. And even trying to select the site for creek extents to the south is tricky with this area.
Yeah.
It's basically where the yellow line is,
Okay,
or the border of our property is the creek.
that's very helpful.
Does that, okay,
Yes, it's very.
yeah, that side, where it's up top there, like where you have the cursor right, yeah, up there, that's going up the hill, but yeah, the creek runs behind the garages and that whole area is just creek right behind it.
That's.
But the fence is on the yellow line.
Yes,
Well, that's the property.
which is also the fence.
There's a creek, the
It's
creek
almost-
is actually the
It goes
property line.
circles around.
The creek, the fence is not in the creek, it's on the bank.
Yeah, it just circles around.
The fence, I assume, is to the north of the creek on your property, which would make sense.
Yes,
Towards the top.
Yes.
For the-
Yeah.
That's fine, that's logical.
right, it comes off from the greenhouse, goes
Parallel with the building, basically.
Well, that part goes parallel to Nicoya, and then it goes back and becomes parallel to Bell Canyon, and then circles back around on the backside.
Okay.
To shelter from the folks behind us as well. The goal was to try to contain as best as possible.
Were there any other questions for the applicant? Okay, if there's anyone in the audience that'd like to come up and speak, please come give us your name and address. Affirm you've been sworn. Please speak to the board, not to the applicant.
My name is Christine Warner DeLeon. I live at 3716 Nicoya Court, and I was sworn in. I am the HOA president of Nicoya Court. We've met many times. Our HOA is very active. Over the years, the past several years, the Austins have intermittently parked their RV and work trailers behind the existing fence. However, these vehicles and other work-related items have frequently been moved and left in the open front yard, positioned visibly along the street frontage facing Bell Canyon. Nicoya Court, as this is shown, runs adjacent to that. Such conditions can detract from the visual quality of the adjacent neighborhood, boarding mid to high value homes, and could diminish our property values on Nicoya Court. Our recommendations as an HOA is, as Nicoya Court residents, we do support the variance, but strongly recommend that all vehicles in the variance and other related trucks and trailers always stay behind the existing fence and never return to the front yard where they have previously been left for long periods of time. We also want to acknowledge that in the last couple of months, recent months, the Austin family has maintained their front yard. Upgraded their landscaping and removed the RV from site and others, as well as other trailers. We hope their commitment to the orderly property will continue to include storing work vehicles, trailers, and RVs behind the designated fence or garage areas as proposed in this zoning variance. Thank you very much.
If I have one question.
Sure.
Since I'm nitpicking everything and asking for clarification. You noted it's in, that they've been in the open front yard. What do you consider the open front yard? So we know exactly what you're talking about.
On the outside of the fence, okay, if they were
On the east side of the fence.
right,
Okay.
Okay,
okay,
so you're not talking about in the driveway or,
Along the long section of the driveway.
sir, you have to wait until you come up to the mic.
okay, along the long driveway, so they have quite a bit of a front yard
Okay,
that goes along that driveway.
great.
Sometimes it's parked there, as well as sometimes work trailers and other things.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
Sure.
that I understood exactly what
Good
you're
question.
talking about. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Your turn.
My name's Eric Callahan, I live 3716 Court Court. I am Dr. Warner's husband. I had been sworn in. As far as I am also on the board of the HOA, we see no problem with the fence, but I think there's discrepancy, really can't notice. There's no way they can put anything behind the house. It is a incline of extreme. It would be unbelievably cost prohibitive to move all that property to the other side, not withstanding that crate that has caused severe erosion over the years. We've lived there close to 40 years. there's no way that they could put that on. And have, they have some sort of structure that would allow them to do that. So that's the only really location that they would be able to do that. We had no complaints of it being there, the fence, the RVs, as long as they're always behind it. And they have done a very well maintained the yard, and they've done a very good job in trying to beautify their property, putting up multiple greenery and everything else. So, as part of the board members, we have no problem with it being there. And their drawing yellow line is a creek. They can't go any further behind that. And on the other side behind their house is a steep incline.
Makes a good slate, sled hill.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's good for nothing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Just to be clear, that was, the written correspondence that was, well, I should say, the correspondence that was read to the record was also written out in an email received, which you all, see in front of you. We did not receive any other correspondence from anyone about this case. I wanted to bring up to the board that in the variance, the prospective variance motions, this does refer to RV. I did want to bring up that in the applicant's description of their variance request, they mentioned utility trailers. So something for the board to consider is the possibility that utility trailers and RV motorhome would be included in the motion. So since that's not written into the staff report, I thought I would bring that up now.
Eric, with what we have in front of us, it doesn't talk about the fence.
We did make mention of the applicant's site plan, given that they highlighted specifically where that motorhome would be kept. That being said, if the board sees it more fitting to use some kind of quantitative reference, such as the 208 feet behind the existing privacy fence, and make reference of the site plan, I would definitely defer to you. That's your decision.
Okay.
I would say that just where it says shown in the applicant's site plan, add behind the privacy fence.
Yeah. Well, I'll give this a stab. Based on the factors, I move to approve case VA 26-08 for the property located at 7720 Vale Canyon Road, Lewis Center, Ohio 43035, seeking an area variance from Orange Township zoning resolution 20.01 A2 to allow for a motorhome and utility trailers to be parked in front of the building line at the location shown in the applicant's site plan behind the privacy fence shown in Exhibit 1 of this report in an area zone farm residential FR-1 district.
I second.
Any questions on the motion?
Those voting, Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Pax?
Yes.
Mr. Wellington?
Yes.
And Mr. Purple?
Yes.
That motion is approved.
Thank you. Thank you. Very much.
Sorry, some neglect there. This is
Eric, may we have a minute question break?
Thank you, sir.
We'll keep it accompanied that.
Thank you very much.
A couple minutes.
Okay, we're ready to restart the hearing.
And backup reporters.
Next before us is the variance case being 2609.
Correct. That's our final item for this evening, the second item of new business. So Ms. Rossman's scrap PA 26-09, which is for the site 3730 Nakoya Court. The applicant is David Smallwood, the owner of the property is Adam Moritz. This is a single-family planned residential district zone parcel, which is a 0.616 acre size lot. This request is for area variance from rezoning case 1467 Nakoya Court, or Nakoya subdivision, to allow for garage for eastway to encroach 9 feet 3 inches into the 30-foot rear yard setback, as well as a 3-foot 9-inch variance into the 15-foot side yard setback. Subject parcel is located 3730 Nakoya Court, stated owned by Adam Moritz. So surrounding area, looking towards the north, the zoning district is single-family planned residential. That includes other single-family residences as well as Nakoya Court right of way. To the south, zoning is farm residential district, land uses are single-family residences. East, also farm residential, that's a vacant land area. And to the west, zoning district, single-family planned residential, land uses are single-family residences. Couple aerial views for you. This is actually close, very close proximity to the last case. Down in the southeast portion of the township. The zoomed in aerial view shows you the details of the existing home, fairly long curvilinear concrete driveway with a driveway extension on the south side, and it's at that driveway extension that the new freestanding garage structure is being proposed. Onto the staff review. This includes 2 area variances. So the one for the summary is, from the rear yard setback. Actually, I'll, sure I'm reading correctly. Okay, yes, the rear yard setback, in the Nicoya subdivision is required, at 30 feet, 0 inches. The proposed garage will encroach 9 feet, 3 inches into the 30-foot rear yard setback, representing a variance of approximately 31% from the standards established under zoning case 1467, Nicoya subdivision. For the second variance, area variance, for side yard setback requirement 15 feet. The proposed attached garage, will, encroach 3 feet and 9 inches into the 15-foot side yard setback, representing a variance request, of approximately 25% from the standards established under zoning case 1467. We have a couple site plans. The site plan, exhibit 1 is the overall plan. It's going to be easier for you to refer to the exhibit number 2 zoomed in version. So we have, firstly, that rear yard setback, that's to the property line is to the right, that's the rear yard property line, and that shows 20 feet and 9 inches, will be the, proposed setback to the rear property line. And then onto the side yard, proposed setback is going to be 11 feet, 3 inches. You can see the box that is shown for the proposed attached garage. That's slightly off-center. We did closely check our scaling and our measurements, and these were also corroborated with the applicant to confirm that the dimensions of the new garage are shown correctly. So 30 feet is going to be the proposed width of the garage, and 26 feet will be the proposed depth. So we have confirmed those variances from each of the property lines. As stated, there is a floor plan. You can see the 30-foot width of the garage, the 26-foot depth, and the 8-foot wide breezeway. So this breezeway is attached to the home, essentially that allows the occupants to go entirely enclosed space from the residence into the new garage. And we have a couple rendering views, so that should give you a better idea of the scale and the finished look of the structure. And then finally, the site photo section. We did our best with these measurements, but I wanted to underscore the fact that these are approximate measurements and annotations. So this photo was taken facing north, sort of from the rear property line, and you can see the boundaries with the property line, the side property line being shown in a red line, the side setback shown in the yellow dotted line, and then the garage, proposed garage, is located in the blue line. Second site photo is just a little bit offset from the previous. This is the third photo is the reverse view, showing towards the rear property, rear of the property, and then just to the side, from the side property line, looking towards the south. That last photo. That's all for the staff review. The rest is the criteria for your consideration and respective motions.
Any questions, Barry?
From the, reading the application, the proposed garage is no further in the rear yard setback as the house is.
That is one also.
How did that occur?
Yeah, that we didn't do a full history on the home, so we were looking at this structure on its own merits. The board does have the option if they want to go separate motion, they could for the home, but the way that we reviewed this, we were ascribing the motion, the requirement for variance specifically for the new improvement. So I think we looked at, the improvement as, a strict addition, and so we've been doing additional variances for your consideration for anything else.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And you may not know, but Sue was originally built like that.
Correct.
And you didn't receive any correspondence from the neighbor that you can see?
You mean the immediate neighbor? No. Oh, that neighbor, I'm sorry. The other one.
Yeah, Nicoya's been busy.
So, I will make mention of the fact, so it's 3716. We received in the same letters, previous correspondence, a short mention of, support in favor of proposed, garage structure. I can read it.
Oh, I noticed that was from the HOA. I just wanted to make sure that if that person that lives in the house that we could see from there had problems that we would have heard from.
And so they do say they're in support of Edward's proposal for garage and breezeway addition to the property. Sorry, jumping ahead a little bit, in terms of, public comment.
Okay. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak from the audience?
I'm the
You're the
builder.
applicant. Oh, the applicant, come forward. Sorry, I skipped you.
So I'm here if anybody has any questions.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is David Smallwood. Address is 472 Edgewood Road, Mansfield, Ohio, and I was sworn in.
Tell us.
Yes, so, addition we're asking to rezone is just for a 2-car garage and a breezeway with, like we just talked about, the rear of the garage is not, going beyond the existing structure. And then, so I guess the side setback would be, is what we're, is actually what is within that setback, the side setback.
The side setback is what I'm most concerned. Is the owner not here?
Owner isn't here.
And behind the house is woods, right?
Yeah, I think there's a pond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Back there, and some
I was
trees.
just trying to, there's an expanse.
Yes, yes.
And from the side, it looks like you've got the same woods or, land area. You've got a flag a lot.
Yeah, there's, I mean, there's some trees, smaller trees to that side.
What's in the dark, clear at the bottom of the photo? Pond.
That's a pond.
That's the pond, okay.
Yes.
The fish aren't going to complain?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Had a couple of ducks, had a couple of ducks.
Any other questions for the applicant? And no one wants to speak from the audience? Okay, come forward, please.
Do I need to state my name?
Yes, please.
Sure. Christine Warner DeLeon. I'm at 3716 Nicoya Court, right next door to this property. I speak on not only for the HOA, but as the next door neighbor, and we are aware of what's happening, and we do support it. Just to provide context, we have a very strict deed of restrictions, and part of the reason of the breezeway is that the deed restriction says there cannot be any separate building. And thus, that's why there is a continuation of the building, so it does follow the deed restrictions that have been in place for 39 years.
A question for you, owner. From your diagram, it doesn't appear that there's any doorway into the garage from the breezeway.
Right.
It's not drawn.
Okay, yeah, I was just looking at it.
I mention it only,
Yeah, the existing, like the existing plans was to have that garage actually attached all the way to the house.
Oh,
And
okay.
then the owner's wife actually wanted to change it, and she said that's just too much garage, so she wants like a glass breezeway there for plants and such. Might have been like I'm not giving you that much garage unless I get something I want, I don't know. But, so that's why the door 2 is on the exterior, that man, I gotta have the architect change it. But that man door going into the new 2-car garage will be in the breezeway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to point it out before you started construction.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm on site all the time, so I don't really, I mean, I know what I'm gonna build. Sometimes the architect, I'm like, I'm not gonna even bother him, but yeah, I'll get that under,
Okay.
get that fixed.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Ready for motion? Rico?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Based upon factors presented this evening, I move to approve case number BA 2609 for property located at 3730 Nicoya Court, Lewis Center, Ohio, seeking an area variance from rezoning case number 1467 Nicoya subdivision to allow for an attached garage with breezeway to encroach 3 feet 9 inches into the 15-foot side yard setback.
Well, 30 yards.
Well, should be 9 feet, 3 inches.
Yeah.
I'm going into the side yard. I'm sorry, I apologize. I do apologize. I was right into the side yard.
No,
I'll be getting it.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I'm sorry, everyone. Variance request rear yard setback. Based on factors presented, I move to approve case number VA 2609 for property located at 3730 Nicoya Court, Lewis Center, Ohio, seeking area variance from the rezoning case number 1467 Nicoya subdivision to allow for an attached garage with breezeway to encroach 9 feet 3 inches into the 30-foot 0-inch rear yard setback in an area zoned single-family plan residential district.
second.
Voting, Ms. Ross,
Yes.
Mr. Kraus,
Yes.
Mr. Pax,
Yes.
Mr. Wellington.
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy.
Yes.
Variance carries.
Based on factors presented this evening, I move to approve case number VA 2609 for property located at 3730 Nicoya Court, Lewis Center, Ohio, seeking an area variance from rezoning case number 1467 Nicoya subdivision to allow for an attached garage with breezeway to encroach 3 feet 9 inches into the 15-foot 0-inch side yard setback in an area zoned single-family plan residential district.
I'll second.
Voting, Ms. Ross,
Yes.
Mr. Kraus,
Yes.
Mr. Pax,
Yes.
Mr. Wellington.
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy.
No.
Motion carries. Well, that's always, that's for our team, this evening. We had one set of minutes that went out, wanted to double check if anybody had any further comments, wanted additional time to review those, but, just for everybody to be aware, that was the March 19th. That was the March 19th set of minutes.
I move for approval of the March 19th, 2026 minutes as amended.
I'll second.
We have those voting, Ms. Ross,
Yes.
Mr. Travis,
Yes.
Mr. Max.
Yes.
Mr. Wellington. Abstain. And Mr. McCoy. Yes. That's been approved. We'll have 1 or 2 sets of minutes for you to look at by the next week. Our next meeting, regular meeting is scheduled for June 18th.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.